My best friend and my husband betrayed me, and I'm trying to start over. I never thought I'd be writing something like this on a forum, but my life has been turned upside down, and I guess I need to let it out somewhere. Maybe sharing it will help me sort through the chaos in my head. My name is Anne. I'm 29 years old, and until about a year ago, I thought I had a solid, ordinary, happy life. For 4 years, I was married to Steven. He works in construction, the kind of man who always came home tired but proud of the work he did. He wasn't flashy or overly romantic, but I thought he was dependable. I work at a post office, mostly behind the scenes with paperwork and administration. The work isn't glamorous, but it's stable, and I actually enjoy the people I work with. That's where I met Vivian. She was hired a couple of years ago, and from the beginning we clicked. She was fun, warm, the kind of person who could make you laugh at the most boring staff meeting. Over time, she became my closest friend. We had coffee breaks together, shared secrets, and leaned on each other when work or life got stressful. Vivian was married to Tim. He seemed quiet at first, but once I got to know him, I realized he was a good guy, steady, responsible, and the kind of man who adored his wife. Steven and Tim got along too, and soon the four of us became inseparable. We had barbecues, little house parties, camping trips, even vacations together. I used to feel so lucky. People don't always get along as couples and groups, but we did. At least that's what I thought. One of the most vivid memories I have is from our trip to the Maldives. It was a dream vacation. White sand beaches, turquoise water, endless drinks, laughter, and late nights. We partied more than we probably should have. I remember moments when Steven and Vivian would disappear together, maybe to grab more drinks, or to check on something. At the time, I was a little irritated, but I didn't think anything of it. I trusted them both completely. Vivian was like a sister to me. Steven was my husband. It never crossed my mind to question them. When we got back, life returned to normal. We all laughed about how crazy that trip had been, and there wasn't a single sign that anything was off. A few months later, Tim and Vivian moved even closer, onto the same street as Steven and me, here in Michigan. We were thrilled. We even helped them move their boxes, hung curtains, and made jokes about how we'd never get rid of each other now. We threw a little celebration once they were settled in, a small party with food and drinks. I remember thinking how perfect everything felt. My best friend was now practically my neighbor. My husband was close with Tim. Life felt easy and full, and then everything fell apart. It happened on an ordinary weekend. Steven told me he was going shopping for fishing equipment. That wasn't unusual. He was always chasing after new gear he didn't need. I stayed home, planning to catch up on some chores. Then there was a loud knock at the door. Not just loud, furious. When I opened it, Tim was standing there. He looked like someone who had just been through hell. His face was pale, his eyes empty, and his whole body seemed to sag like he was carrying 100 pounds of grief. My first thought was that there had been an accident. I was terrified. I asked him what was wrong, bracing for horrible news, but nothing could have prepared me for what he said. He told me that he'd gone into the city earlier that morning to shop at the market, but he hadn't found anything, so he came home earlier than planned. When he walked into his house, he saw Vivian on her knees in front of Steven. My Steven, in their bedroom. Steven was lying back on the bed, and Vivian was, well, I don't have to paint the picture. Tim said he lost it. He attacked Steven, full of rage. Steven ended up in the hospital, but Tim said he didn't care. He didn't even notice where Vivian ran off to. He just saw red. The police came after, probably because Vivian called them, but Steven refused to press charges, most likely because he was humiliated. That was the moment everything changed for me. Within weeks, the divorces were in motion. Tim filed against Vivian. I filed against Steven. Because of the infidelity, both Tim and I came out better in the settlements. But none of it felt like a win. It just felt like tearing apart everything I thought I had. I moved back in with my parents for a while because I couldn't stay in the house with Steven anymore. Eventually, once things were finalized, we sold the house and split the profit. With that money, I was able to get a small apartment of my own. It's not big, but It's mine, and it's quiet. I've tried to make it cozy, filling it with little things that bring me comfort. Plants, new curtains, soft blankets. It feels safe, even if sometimes it also feels lonely. I still work at the post office. That routine has been my anchor through all of this. I see familiar faces, do familiar tasks, and it reminds me that some things haven't changed. Vivian doesn't work there anymore. After everything came out, she couldn't stay. She left, and I never saw her again. She tried calling me, texting me, sending long messages full of apologies and excuses. I haven't answered once. There's nothing she could ever say that would make it right. She was supposed to be my best friend. She was supposed to have my back, not betray me in the worst way possible. As for Steven, I have no contact with him outside of the lawyers. I don't want to know where he is, what he's doing, or if he's even still with Vivian. That chapter of my life is closed, though the scars are still there. Tim and I kept in touch for a while. We'd meet for coffee sometimes, both of us, just trying to process what had happened. It was strangely comforting to talk to the only other person who really understood what I was feeling. But eventually, he said he couldn't stay here. The town felt poisoned to him, full of memories he couldn't bear, so he moved out of state. We still exchange the occasional message, but not often. He needed distance, and I respect that. And now it's just me. I'm 29 years old, divorced, sitting in my little apartment in Michigan, trying to rebuild my life. Some mornings I wake up, and for a split second, I forget. I roll over, expecting Steven to be there, or I think about calling Vivian to share something funny that happened at work. And then it hits me all over again. The betrayal, the lies, the fact that two people I trusted most chose to betray me together. That's the hardest part, not losing Steven, not even losing Vivian, but knowing that both of them looked me in the eye, laughed with me, planned trips with me, all while hiding this from me. I'm trying to move forward, but it's not easy. I keep telling myself that this is a chance to start fresh, that I'm young enough to build a new life. I still have my job, my family, and my health. I still have friends who stood by me. But some nights I lie awake and wonder if I'll ever trust anyone that deeply again. For now, I'm taking it one day at a time. Update, hi everyone, I just wanted to write one last update here. First of all, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the warm, thoughtful, and kind comments you left on my original post. I read every single one of them, and honestly, it meant more to me than I can even describe. Knowing that strangers took the time to listen, understand, and offer encouragement gave me a kind of comfort I didn't know I needed. It made me feel a little less alone in all of this. Life is moving forward, slowly but surely. I've settled more into my apartment, and I'm starting to find a new rhythm. But I'll be honest, the hardest part is still the trust. I can't. Imagine letting someone get close to me right now, not after what happened. It feels like that part of me is locked away, and I'm not ready to hand it over again. Maybe one day, but definitely not now. Right now, my focus is on healing and working on myself. I've realized that I need to rebuild not just my life, but also my sense of self-worth. So that's where all my energy is going, into taking care of myself, into work, into small joys that I can control. I'm not interested in any relationships at this point. Maybe in the future, when I'm truly ready, I'll open that door again. But for now, it's closed, and I'm okay with that. This will probably be my last post here. I don't think I'll have much more to say that's worth updating on. But I wanted to come back one final time just to thank all of you again. Your words carried me through some dark nights, and I'll always remember that kindness. Take care of yourselves, and thank you again.